it's Miss Karen. We're going to read a story today. It's called The Fairy Without Wings. This is one of those great scholastics in a Disney book. So let's get started. A Fairy Without Wings. So let's see. Let's see who might be in here. We have Tinkerbell, Rainy, Lily, Bess, Terrence, Beck, Vera, and Queen Clarion. Hopefully I got them all right. So Disney Fairies, The Fairy Without Wings. Have you ever heard the faint jingle of tiny bells or noticed sparkles of shimmering light outside your bedroom window at night? Have you ever seen pixie dust float in the air? Beyond the world you see, there's another world. In this world, tiny creatures known as never fairies live. See, there's that pixie dust. The never fairies live in Pixie Hollow, on the island of Neverland. This is where mermaids play, and no creature ever grows old. As for never fairies, they are charming, tiny creatures. They stand only 5 inches tall. They sparkle everywhere they go, and they have wings. Each fairy has a special skill and talent, and their magic comes from the pixie dust. Pixie dust is a special dust that follows fairies, that allows fairies to fly. And flying is what fairies love to do. They especially love to play a fun game called fairy tag. When fairies are out in the meadow, they zoom up and down and in and out of the tall grass. The fairies dodge wildflowers, while their laughter echoes through Pixie Hollow. Sadly, one fairy stopped playing fairy tag long ago. Her name was Rainy. Rainy had wings once, but not anymore. She had to give them up while on a quest to save Mother Dove and her precious egg, the source of Neverland's magic. I think that's Rainy right there. See, she doesn't have wings. Mother Dove was a magical bird whose nest contained the special egg. Without Mother Dove and her egg, there would be no pixie dust, and everyone in Neverland would quickly grow old. When danger had threatened Neverland, Rainy had cut off her wings so that she could dive into Mermaid Lagoon to retrieve a mermaid's comb. Rainy's selfless act saved both the egg and Pixie Hollow. While all the fairies were very grateful for what Rainy had done, they also felt very sorry for her. "It's okay," Rainy assured them. "I'll be fine." Though deep down, Rainy was sad. She had lost her wings and her ability to fly. Thankfully, whenever she needed to fly somewhere, she could hitch a ride on Brother Dove's back. See? This is where it's nice to have friends. She can just hitch a ride. Rainy's special talent was water. Rainy could form it into any shape. She could make water bounce like a ball, scoop it into her hands without losing a single drop, and make water boil faster, which pleased everyone at tea time. Rainy had always wanted to swim, but she couldn't when she had wings. The water would have soaked her wings and made them too heavy. Without wings, Rainy could finally enjoy swimming. She loved feeling smooth, cool water on her skin and spent hours floating down in Havendash Stream and swimming in the ocean. Rainy even learned how to breathe underwater. She had made a necklace of bubbles filled with air, and she could pop a bubble in her mouth whenever she needed a breath. Another favorite pastime of Rainy's was to spend time with her friend Tinkerbell. Tink loved to fix things, especially pots and pans. But pots and pans weren't the only things Tink liked, or tried, to fix. One day, a very rude fairy named Vidya told Rainy that she had become useless without wings. Vidya's harsh words hurt Rainy, and she ran away. Tink missed Rainy terribly while she was gone. When Rainy finally came back, Tink never wanted her friend to run away again. So Tink went to see the sewing talent fairies, who could do magical things with a needle and a bit of thread. Tink also brought along a design talented fairy. Let's combine our talents and make Rainy a new pair of wings, Tink suggested. Fantastic idea, agreed the other fairies. They began working as fast as they could. The sewing talent fairies used feathers and fabric to make the wings. The design talent fairy fashioned a complex system of strings that would help Rainy steer when she needed to soar through the air. Let's take a better look at these. Oh, those are some pretty nifty looking wings that they're making for her. An extra cup of pixie dust and you'll be flying the sky again. Just wait and see, Tink promised Rainy. But then Rainy tried the wings. They felt a bit awkward, and the strings were, ouch, snapped too tight. Come on now, Rainy, Tink cried as she fluttered in the air above Rainy. Rainy pulled the strings and flapped the wings. Flap, 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 flap. She did her best. Suddenly a gust of wind caught the wings, and Rainy whirled through the air. Whoa. It's working, Tink cheered as she flew beside Rainy. You think so? Rainy asked, trying to avoid a bush. Oh yes, once you learn how to steer, Tink assured her. Maybe, Rainy shrieked, dodging a tree. Then another gust of wind blew her straight into the old oak tree. Crish! Rainy groaned as she dangled helplessly from the branches. Are you okay? We'll get you down. Don't worry, yelled Tink. Though Rainy tried to be brave about the accident to the other fairies still felt sorry for her. She heard some of them whispering about her. Oh, it was terrible. She nearly fell from the tree. She can't fly. To make matters worse, whenever Rainy entered a room, everyone became quiet. Oh, yeah, we don't like that when people start talking to us behind our backs. Actually, they're talking at us, not to us. That's not nice. Maybe Rainy could convince the other fairies that she was fine if they saw her happy at work. Rainy set out to use her water talent skills to the best of her abilities. She spent the morning in the laundry room, making the water and the soap bubbles just right. Later, in the kitchen, she made the water in the teapot boil quicker than ever. When she saw the harvest talent fairies bring in the baskets full of gooseberries to be washed, Rainy beamed. It was the ideal job for the water fairy. The fairies quickly rinsed the berries so that they could be made into pies. Rainy then drained the berries perfectly. When she was finished, there wasn't a single drop of water anywhere. At tea time, Rainy went into the tea room and sat down with the other water talent fairies. After enjoying tea and gooseberry pie, Rainy wanted to take a dip in the cool stream. Then something shiny and glittery caught her eye. It was Tink strolling into the tea room with yet another pair of wings. Rainy shook her head. She knew what Tink was up to. These wings were even more magnificent than the last pair, but Rainy didn't want to fly again. Still, Tink was determined to help her friend. These will work, I promise, said Tink. Come, let's go to the meadow. There are no trees there. Those are some pretty spiffy looking wings. Tink, the wings are really beautiful, but, Rainy started to say. Hush now, Tink said. Look, they fit you perfectly. And these will last, I promise. Tink, Rainy said, sighing. Please, Now just jump, cried Tink. Rainy did as she was told and jumped. The wind carried her along for a moment. Rainy enjoyed floating in the air again. All of a sudden, she heard a loud cry in the distance. Hawk! Hawk! In Neverland, hawks often lurked about, ready to swoop down and snatch an unsuspecting fairy. Rainy quickly dived, but the wind just kept taking her higher and higher into the sky. Soon she was so high up that when she came down, she crashed. Poor Rainy. When Rainy hit the ground, the useless wings snapped off and hit her on the head. She's not having a good day. Ouch! Rainy cried as she rubbed her aching head. Fuming, Rainy stood up and yelled at Tink. I wish you would just stop trying to fix me. I'm not a broken pot. Rainy stormed off and went directly to the stream. Frustrated and angry, Rainy dove in and felt the soothing, cool water cover her. As she floated on her back, Rainy heard a shrill cry. Up in the sky, she saw the hawk once again. Oh no! It had snatched Terence. See? Oh, the hawk came in, yep, snatched little Terence. Why didn't the scouting talent fairies warn him? Rainy wondered. They were supposed to watch for hawks and other dangers that might lurk in Pixie Hollow. Rainy looked up and spotted a flock of scouts chasing the fierce bird. For a moment, Rainy wished she still had her wings. She wanted to save Terence, but there was no way she could help him while floating in the stream. Rainy gasped when she saw two scouts flying too close to the hawk's sharp beak. Watch out! Warned Rainy, but the scouts were clever and played a trick on the hawk. As the hawk lunged at them, a third scout, holding a dagger, landed on the hawk's head. The hawk saw the sharp blade and forgot all about Terence. Terence tumbled down through the air. Spread your wings and fly! Rainy cried, but nothing happened. Oh no! Rainy shrieked. He can't fly! He's unconscious! Well, at last, he'll fall into the water instead of hitting the ground, thought Rainy. But Terence couldn't swim. If his wings got soaked with water, they would be too heavy to keep him afloat, and he could drown. Rainy quickly zipped through the water. She had to save Terence. The cool water woke Terence up. Terrified, he realized he was out in the middle of the stream. He anxiously began kicking his feet and flailing his arms. Stop thrashing around, Rainy cried out. Rainy swam towards Terence and grabbed the pair, and the pair broke the water surface. Rainy struggled and used all her strength to carry Terence towards the shore. Slowly, inch by inch, she dragged him out of the water. Along the shore, every fairy in Pixie Hollow cheered as Rainy and Terence made their way to safety. I'm glad you don't have any wings, Terence said to Rainy. Otherwise, I would have drowned. Rainy smiled at him. Then she felt Queen Clarion touch her shoulder. I don't know what we would do without you, the Queen said. Like water, you can be gentle and yet very strong. But in times of danger and hardship, few carry your determination and resilience. Without those qualities, your treasured Pixie Hollow would not exist. Queen Clarion added, even without wings, you have shown us that. Then Queen Clarion was silent. She looked at Rainy for a long time before saying, Rainy, I simply don't know how to thank you, so please accept my deepest respect instead. Proud tears trickled down Rainy's cheeks. She was happier than she had been in a long time. Rainy felt another hand on her shoulder and turned to see Tink standing before her. I kept trying to fix you, and I'd fly backwards if I could, she apologized. But that's what I do. I fix things. I know, said Rainy, as she smiled through her tears. But you really shouldn't have been tinkering with, Tink reluctantly admitted. Rainy looked at the sad expression on Tink's face and gave her a big hug. I know you were only trying to help, Rainy said. Tink sighed. From now on, I think I'll just stick to my pots and pans. Fine with me, agreed Rainy. But promise to be my friend forever. I'd like to go for a swim in the ocean now, Rainy said. Can I come? Tink asked. Not for the swim, of course, but for the company. Sure, come fly there with me, Rainy replied, and whistled for Brother Dove. A moment later, the two friends soared into the sky and headed out to the big blue ocean, where only a very special fairy without wings could venture. The end.